Welcome back to the shift. It's been a couple weeks since we were live with you, and we're just so glad to be back. And yeah, it's already feeling like spring here. I don't know where in the world you are right now watching this replay, but it is spring here in California. How about you, Kate? How's the weather where you
Yes.
are in Texas now?
I was just at the park this morning with my son and my mom who's in town visiting, and we were on a swing together and we were talking about oh, I just wish it could stay this way. Spring is my absolute favorite season. I just love the everything's in bloom, the birds are chirping, the air here in Texas, depending upon the day, it can still get quite hot already in the afternoon, but in the morning, there's still a nice breeze and it doesn't feel so hot. And yeah, just living here in Texas where it does get quite hot for a lot of the year, I'm it's California, right? I wish I could live in a climate like you, Laura, well, I know San Francisco is a little unique, but just where it feels like spring all year round. That would be my dream.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I love that. I'm 100% agree with you. And for those of you who are joining live, we'd love to hear from you. Is spring your favorite time of year? Is it winter? Is it summer? I feel like we all have a season that our nervous system really loves, and we'd love to hear from you. If you're watching the replay, I think definitely spring is definitely one of my favorites as well. It's like new beginnings, fresh start. I feel like there's just all this great momentum. Yeah, I feel like just taking a breath around that. And I know for so many of us, we just love that energy of things starting to move, and we're feeling, the birds are singing, there's fresh air, and we just feel like new opportunities, new doors are being opened. So it's a time of renewal, and I just love it. And also just as a believer, as someone who's very, faith-based as well, this is a very special time of year, thinking about Easter and the resurrection. So yeah, it's just a really beautiful time of year. Oh my gosh. Well, amazing. We're so excited to dive in with all of you today for this topic, because last week we led a really incredible experience. And for some of you, maybe you were live on that experience. If you were, we were so glad you were in the room. It was a very powerful room. Maybe for those of you, you purchased the replay, and maybe you're still taking some of that in from that live experience. And for those of you who weren't there live, we do have the replay available as well. So if you do want to check it out after we've been chatting today and going into a little bit more about what sort of happened in that experience, we'd love to send it your way. But before we kind of really dive in today, we're going to start with two things. One is I'm going to pose a question here. Number two is we're then going to just settle into the space. We're going to take 30 seconds just to get in our bodies. So I'm going to start with the question first today. So if your next level of success was already here, would your body, would your nervous system feel enough capacity to hold it? Or would it feel like more to manage? So just checking in, just noticing what's showing up as I'm asking this question. Would your body feel like it has the capacity to hold this next level of success if it was already here? Because I know for many of you, you're making plans, you're thinking into the future, goals that you have, right? Things you have for your family, for your business, maybe things that God is calling you to. And what I want to share with you is that this version of you has everything you worked for, let's say. She's not maybe holding more. And this is something that we unpacked a little in the live experience. She's holding it differently. So I want you just to notice how that lands for you. It's not necessarily about holding more, just to hold more, because you're already holding a lot. You might be a mom, you're running a household, you have a business, or you work your corporate job, right? Maybe you're married, maybe you're single, but you're already holding a lot. It's not even that word holding more, even just noticing what shows up. Maybe a party is excited by that, oh yes, more, right? More opportunities, more money, more visibility, more time with my family. And then another party that's maybe ooh, more? I'm already holding a lot. So what we're posing here today for you is it's not necessarily about holding more for the sake of holding more. It's also about holding it differently. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about capacity. And what we've found is that for most high achieving women, it's not that they don't know how to get there, because many of you know how to get to the goals and the things that you desire. It's that your nervous system hasn't yet been taught how to stabilize what it is that you're building. So today we're going to talk about why so many women made decisions this week, and we're going to talk about a few of those. After being in the live experience that we hosted, the live capacity experience, why so many of them made very powerful decisions for themselves this week, not because they needed more strategy, but because they finally saw their capacity clearly. I'm going to pause there. Kate, anything that's coming to you as I share this?
Yeah, there's a lot coming to me, Laura, and I just so appreciate the way you anchored us into this space here. You know, it was interesting. I had a session with my coach, who I've worked with for a long time, yesterday evening, and as someone who teaches this work, who trains women in this work around capacity, like we are still not, like we're still in the work ourselves, Laura, right? And so there was something I had an intention around, and a pattern that's been showing up for me, and more so in my personal life actually than in my business. And what I was noticing as I was tuning into my body, and I was starting to like sense that part of me show up today as you were inviting that in, was this like almost like a windshield wiper feeling, or almost like a war.
Yes.
And I've had clients name this to me in the past, where it's like consciously, it's like I desire these things. It's like I'm really clear, and just like drop in the chat and let me know if this resonates. Like just drop a 1, or maybe share a little bit if you feel called. Like I'm so clear on what it is that I desire. And for many of us, you know, really smart, brilliant women that are tuning in right now, and men too, it's like you're probably pretty clear on the things that you're focused on in this season and the things that you want. It's then, like, again, as Laura mentioned, making sure that all parts of us feel safe, secure, and stabilized to actually have and get those things, but then also to maintain and sustain them over time. And this part of me that was showing up yesterday and in the evening as I was working with my coach was showing me how there's still parts of me and in my own system that have a really clear idea of what I want, and just showing me where that still feels like an edge. Right? Oh, like, yeah, I've tasted it. I've gotten sips of it. I've experienced it. But then my system pulls back and contracts simply because that thing that I'm wanting is also something that wasn't necessarily like super familiar and consistent for a lot of my life. Yeah. And so, yeah, I want to share that because I think as high achievers, we move so fast and we are so clear, and we have that fire of desire, and we have that vision, we have that clarity of what we want. And we think, well, yeah, I want it. I'm taking steps. I'm doing the strategy. I'm doing the mindset work. I'm implementing things. I even have like a pretty impressive regulation toolkit that I'm using, you know, every day when things start to feel stressful or overwhelming. But the work that we're talking about, the work that we did last week in the room that we were in, wasn't about strategy. It wasn't about doing more or more discipline or more effort. It was about truly making sure all parts of us, and of course, that's not something we do in just 1 hour. That's what we do inside of our NeuroSomatics program, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. We're kicking off here in just a few weeks on April 7th for our spring cohort. But it's just about making sure all parts of us, not just our mind, not just the part of us that has that fire of desire and that clarity around the vision, but also the really tender parts of us, or even the really protective parts of us that come online that maybe don't feel quite safe to have that. And for many of us, those parts are, you know, those are in our subconscious. So we're not always aware of them day to day. And so, yeah, I think last week was a really beautiful opportunity that Laura and I witnessed for a lot of women that are used to moving so quickly and so fast and making big, bold decisions, to start to really just slow down for a moment, not from a place of losing momentum, but actually taking a pause to gain momentum and to get clarity on what is the right next step. And for a lot of the women in the room, we had a couple women that were like, I could write a book on strategy. Like, I've done so much strategy work. I could literally write a book on it. And yet I'm still maybe overthinking offers. I'm still shrinking when it comes to pricing. Yep. I'm still experiencing certain patterns play out even in my personal life, maybe in my marriage or in motherhood, that, yeah, don't really feel ideal. And they got a chance to see that it's actually their nervous system and the capacity that they have right now, what is that is like the kind of the invisible plateau right now that they're hitting up against. So I'll pause there, Laura, and just see if there's anything that, is showing up for you, just as I name some of those reflections. And it was a really, really powerful experience to be a part of.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kate, I love everything you shared. And just like you said, like the windshield wipers, I feel like is such an amazing sort of like visual in my mind. I could feel it in my own body as you were naming that. And I've also had clients share the same thing. It's like this tug of war, or like even those cartoons. Remember when they used to put the devil and the angel on your shoulder and it felt like they were arguing with each other? Yeah. And so like there's like that. I've had many clients even describe it like that, where it feels like there's like two different like parts of them that are like fighting with one another. And that was something that, we did unpack like just a little bit in the live capacity experience last week. I think that was so amazing. And another reflection too on that experience, because what this title of this live is like, why are women joining NeuroSomatics after the live experience? And I think there were many reasons, but one of the first ones I want to name was like, there was one particular woman in the room. She's currently working in a corporate job still. She's not a coach. And done very well in sales, very accomplished. Recently had a child, because I think has a young son at home, and she's been working remotely from her job. And now her company has just asked her to go back to the office, starting I think in like the summertime. And she's been like wrestling with this. It's like and pretty much deciding like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be home with my son. So it looks like she's going to be leaving like the role that she currently has. And so she joined the capacity experience, was like super excited, didn't know much about this work that we do, just was really curious. And one of the insights she had that she shared with us, Kate, that I love was, she thought the diagnostic tool that we led everybody through, which is a proprietary framework that we took these women through, was a capacity scoring framework. And she said it was so eye-opening because she had chalked up a lot of her behaviors, like such as consistently feeling the need to be productive, right? Feeling the need to, just always be on, to just her personality. She thought, that's just my personality. That's just who I am. And like after going through the capacity experience, she's realizing, oh my gosh, that's my nervous system. That is these parts that we're talking about. This is my nervous system hitting these ceilings. And then she said, it's so amazing to know that it's like, I think her words were like fixable, but like, it's more like, I think we would use the word more like that this is something that you can rewire. Like this is something that you can shift, right? That's why we call it this live, the shift, right? You can shift it. So there's nothing about her that's broken. So she doesn't really need to fix it, but it's more of like this element of like rewiring some of those pieces that, again, like not wrong or bad, but just like, again, just hitting these ceilings like in her life. And it sounds like right now it's like there's a lot of personal elements here that are playing out. They're also tied to her career. And so anyways, after the live experience, she was like, I'm going to join NeuroSomatics. Like, this is just what I need. Like, I need more of this, and I want to learn this, and I want the framework for this. And I know it's going to just really bless me in so many ways in my life.
Oh, I love that, Laura. I know we've had students in the past that have gone through the program that are very much like her, moving through a corporate role transition. And also we work with a lot of women that are coaches already and have already really successful businesses. And, I think there was this other theme in the room around, Laura, I know you'll appreciate this. And I was even having this in my own session last night that I've referenced a couple times now with my coach, where it's like, we can know something mentally, and if we're living from that place, we think, okay, well, I know it, so all I need to do now is take action, and that should be enough. But then we start to get into this work. It's like, I love the moment where people, myself included, will realize something that you've already known mentally, but you realize it like, at like a whole nother level in your being, whether it's like in your heart, in your gut, in your body, and you feel something. It's not just this like insight. Now it's like something is like turning on as a result of this aha. And so I feel like that was happening a lot last Wednesday when Laura and I led this experience, which was so many of the women were sharing with us, like, I didn't realize I could have different capacities in different areas of life.
Yeah.
We talk about it from the lens of like capacity maps. So it's like business. And then within business, we have sales and marketing, visibility. We have like actually client delivery. We have things like speaking, where maybe you're moving from one-on-one intimate containers to like really big group containers. And then every other area of your life. And so I think it was so cool to see so many women have these like deeply embodied aha moments that weren't just mental, that were somatic, that where they were feeling like, oh, this is why this and this feels really effortless and feels easy. And that's why this and this over here feels so hard. And maybe has been something that I've actually been kind of struggling with for a while now, and has felt heavier, harder than I want it to feel, or heavier or harder than it used to feel. We talked a lot about how a lot of the women in the room were sharing like things that used to work.
Yeah.
I was in earlier stages of life or earlier stages of business, like the strategy and just taking action, like that used to work. And I'm at the phase of life now and the phase of business now where like that's not working anymore. And so it was just really cool to see so many of the women resonating about being in this phase where what used to work isn't working, but also then to get the clarity on what is the next step, that capacity building that we're talking about. And I just think it's so cool, Laura, because there's so many people, as you know, and we talk about all the time, that are talking about capacity. And so if you're here, whether you're tuning into the replay or you're listening live, like let us know what your experience with this has been. Like maybe you're just tapping into this, or maybe you've been exploring this for some time now, which is that, yeah, that capacity is important. Sorry, my son's logging in. The capacity is important, but historically there hasn't been a way to measure it. There hasn't been a way to like sit there and say, what is my capacity? And then to be able to further break it down into these like main areas of life and get really clear. And so many women left with like, oh, this is what's been hanging me up, or this is why I've been feeling so stuck or frustrated or confused. And it was just, yeah, it was really, really an honor to just to see so many women having those ahas in real time. And then for a lot of them too, to say, okay, now we have this clarity, and we're not going to let ourselves lose the momentum. We're going to take the next step and actually train that capacity, because it's measuring it the first step, right? We talk about that, but being able to train it and build it and watch it grow and expand. I know, Laura, you and I are similar in this regard. It's just like, it's so fun to watch people go through that process where coming to the program, something that used to feel so activating and so challenging, and they walk out of the program and it's like, oh, that
exactly.
That just feels, you know, maybe not completely easy, but I just feel like, oh, I'm so capable now. Like that just doesn't feel like a big deal the way it used to. And I know we have, and we can share a couple examples of that in really specific ways and areas that we've seen our students grow and shift and evolve just in 90 days through doing this work really intentionally through the proprietary framework that Laura and I have created and trained many, many students in. But yeah, I can feel my nervous system getting really excited for this next cohort to start.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kate, I love it. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I loved seeing, I think there's something you just shared that I want to double click on, which was the women that showed up live or even on the replay, because we've been getting messages from women even after they're watching the replay, which was like, because we even said you're going to leave the room with more capacity than when you came in. And even though it was only an hour experience, but because of the way that it was sequenced, the way that we put it together, women did get more capacity in that 1 hour that then allowed them to take action on something that they've been wanting to take action on. Now, for some, it's been, they took the action of joining NeuroSomatics. Maybe for some, it was just even reaching out and asking for more information about NeuroSomatics and the proprietary process that we have. And so it was just so exciting to see, like you said, this momentum and this clarity that these women had after the live experience. Because again, some of the women maybe signed up for maybe they came for insight, right? Or maybe they came thinking, oh, I'm going to learn some new strategy or whatever, even though we didn't advertise strategy. But sometimes we think I'm going to take all this information mentally. And when they left, it was they got clarity, like you said, on their true capacity. And some of the key realizations that came out too was this element of they're not inconsistent, they're overloaded. The system is overloaded. You know, they're not lacking discipline. They're overholding. The system is overholding. And some of the way that that shows up that we talked about in the live experience was like, and please drop in the chat if you're watching the replay right now, if any of this resonates with you, scared of taking action, so you don't take any action, or so much self-doubt that you sit in this indecision where you go back and forth, or you worry how others are going to perceive you, or this imposter syndrome. Like there's something that's really, this God has given you this really big next idea, but you're like holding back a little bit. Like you maybe you tease it out, maybe you've talked about it a little bit, but like you're really not going fully forward with it because yeah, you feel like, oh, who am I to like, you know, put this out into the world, right? And I know we've all had those moments, like we feel that self-doubt, or you know, we go back and forth, even if we still are taking action. A lot of women are taking action, but they question themselves constantly.
Yeah.
And even some of the feedback too for those that believe in God, like going through the program and being able to increase their capacity in the sequencing that we take the women through, because sequence is very important too. So when we're talking about capacity expansion, like we're talking about a particular order that it goes in. And when the women go through that experience, they have so much clarity, but also like so much discernment. They now know like what is for them, what isn't for them, right?
Yes.
Like they're okay with taking a pause before just reacting to something. Like they know it's okay to wait a day or two without needing to like, you know, respond like really urgently. And they can just hear God like so much clearer. Like they even start to see him and feel him in a whole new light than maybe even how their religious upbringing taught them. Like that's when I get really excited too, when I can see some of that starting to heal and they're in the intimacy with God really, you know, just developing in a way that they didn't even know existed.
Yeah. Oh, Laura. I think I'm thinking about our one student from our last cohort, and we'll keep her name private, of course, as we do with all of our students, unless they give us permission to share. But yeah, I think about the one student that came into the program not really having a relationship with God. Like it wasn't that she like didn't believe or anything, but it just wasn't really on her, like that wasn't an intention that she had going into the program. But she had this incredible, like beautiful miracle surprise gift on the other side of the program where she was like, as a result of being in the program, and not because anything Laura and I are like pushing on people, but just I felt called to like to seek him out. And you know, I think it's she shared like she and her husband started going to a local church that felt really aligned for where they were in their journey. And she was just having all these insights around her relationship with him and how he's always been there for her, even when she didn't necessarily feel it or couldn't have language for it. And now it's something she's really hungry for, and she's seeking, you know, and really building that relationship with the Lord and her life now. And yeah, it was something Laura and I, it wasn't even on our radar. And when she sent us that note, I remember about a month after the program ended, it was like, whoa, like, it's just miracle after miracle that we get to witness inside the program.
Yeah, I love that you named that. And there's one other student I want to name too. And again, yeah, we'll keep her name private. But actually, she's a believer. So she actually came into the program with someone who's already, you know, has a faith-based business. But she came in wanting to really understand more of the nervous system piece of things, so she could take her clients through a very specific, like, you know, the framework that we teach in the program. She's someone that like definitely loves, you know, frameworks and like, you know, really learning about the science and like, you know, just really getting her clients like really great results. And so there was two things that she named when she went through it, which was, well, first off, that like, I think just for herself, she was realizing that a lot of her faith was still mental. Like she hadn't really like accepted like the truth of like, you know, of God, like in her heart, like in her own nervous system. There was like, again, these two kind of conflicts that were happening. And she didn't realize like how that it was there until she went through NeuroSomatics. And then she was able to link it to all the clients that she was serving in the same way, where they were coming to her, like, you know, talking about all these verses and like, I know he's going to provide, like they know that mentally, but like their actions and their behaviors and their beliefs were like not in alignment with that truth. And so then she was like, you know, it's just so amazing to hear like how now she's helping those women through the work that we taught inside NeuroSomatics to help them to get their mind and body aligned, their mind and their heart, you know, in alignment in that way. So yeah, just another incredible like experience for just the women that went through have gone through our program. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so beautiful, Laura. So yeah, if you're tuning in again, whether you're live here with us or you're watching the replay, I just want to invite in like just a moment to pause.
Yeah.
I know we've been sharing a lot about the capacity experience for those of you, that maybe didn't get a chance to be a part of that. We actually did drop into the chat the link to access the replay, to get instant access to the replay. So you can click on that if you are really curious. 60 minutes. We do the capacity score exercise about halfway through. So if you're like, well, that's what I really want, like, of course, we recommend watching it all because every piece kind of builds on top of the next. But yeah, we have that in there if you want to take a look. And so, yeah, we've been sharing about that. We've been sharing about NeuroSomatics and just, some of the incredible experiences that women have had in the program, from faith, from their relationship with God to their health. We've had women heal 20 years of chronic pain. We've had marriages that women have said, like, were saved as a result of being in the program. We've had so many students become mothers as a result of being in the program, or, maybe not as a direct result, right? Like we are not training necessarily fertility in the program, but we're helping them to create the environment to again have the capacity for the things on their heart. So I just want to be really clear in my language there. And then we've had students just grow their business in such beautiful ways, from being more confident to serving their clients to landing speaking engagements in front of hundreds of people and flying first class to be booked as a speaker, at these like really beautiful events. And so, I want to just invite in a moment to pause. Like what has sparked in you since you've been tuned in today to this conversation? Maybe there was something that we shared 20 minutes ago when we were just starting off that you want to revisit now just in this moment. Maybe just even noticing like where your posture is right now. Maybe you find yourself leaning in and feeling that excitement and sharing that excitement with Laura and I. Maybe there's a part of you that's like, oh yeah, I've heard this a few times now. There's things that are sparking here that have sparked before. And maybe it feels like the right next step to just have a conversation to explore this just a little bit further. So I just want you to just take the next 10 seconds just to notice what you're noticing. If you feel called to share it here with us, if you're here live, or you just want to share in the comments and be witnessed in that, just know that's an option for you. Yeah, Laura, anything you're noticing just as we're tuning in and noticing for a moment here?
Yeah, again, I'm just feeling, again, there's like this feeling of momentum, but it's like, it's not super fast. It's like things are moving and I'm trying to describe, like, I just feel like so much possibility here. Like, I love that feeling. I know for many of you probably love that feeling too. It's like possibility and, that I'm not alone too, right? That there's something about this in the way that we're speaking is like really speaking to your heart. So not just your mind, but like really to your heart. And the other thing too, Kate, that like I was just feeling as you were sharing this as well was like, we've also had women join the program, but also even the live experience we did last week, they were sharing this too, that we're like the community, like just having that accountability, being able to meet weekly, being, and just feeling like I'm not alone in whatever it is. Like you're building a business right now, it can feel sometimes really lonely. You're like wearing all these different hats in the business. And maybe you do have a coach, or maybe at one point you've worked with some coaches and that's amazing. But it's like, I want to be around a really powerful group of women. And we've had some women reach out saying like, just being in the room with all those women last week, like was so like, I just feel so filled up. Like I want more rooms and spaces like that where community is really cultivated in a very intentional way. And we've had so many of our students who still like connect on a regular basis. And even after the program ended and like did collaborations together and like helped each other out or just continue to meet just to support each other. It's like, it's really amazing. So also just from that piece as well, I loved seeing the community come together last week and more women actively seeking out that community and that real relationship building with one another.
Yeah. 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 I mean, so many of us know in our minds that we have this innate need to belong as humans. Like God wired us for belonging. And yet our modern day lives aren't always structured in a way that really supports allowing that. And so sometimes, oftentimes I find that we have to be really intentional, right? Like really intentional with how we make choices so that we can feel like we're in spaces where we truly belong. And yeah, it's an honor that God has allowed you and I, Laura, to create a space where we can cultivate that connection and that belonging for women. And yeah, so just as we wind down today, I want to just invite you into a choice, right? Because we all always have choice. We always want to make sure that we can, just take a moment to notice the choices that we do have. So for those of you, whether you join the experience, whether you're going to catch the replay because you're really intrigued, or maybe you're just feeling and sensing that like, wow, yes, there is something here that like I am ready for. You have a choice. And so you can stay. My son's back. You can stay where you are. And there's nothing wrong or bad at that, right? Like timing is important. We know that from a nervous system perspective, the timing does need to be right. And so you can stay and just continue to manage the patterns that have been playing out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can choose to step into a space where you can expand your capacity and grow it so that success and all the things that are on your heart right now that God's placed there for really good reason, like that's not an accident. So all of that can actually be stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
So the question I leave you with is, just like what would it look like to make that choice? What would it feel like to make that choice? And if you are leaning toward the latter, choosing to expand that capacity and to do it in a really thoughtful, structured way, because as Laura mentioned, it's really important not to do this alone or to try to DIY it. There's a sequence here, and Laura and I have spent a lot of time and energy to create a process and a sequence that we know that works.
Yep.
We'd love to invite you just to explore what that could look like for you in this season, based on your unique nervous system, the patterns that you're facing right now and that you're managing and working with, and all of the goals and intentions that you have on your heart for your life. And so I'm going to pop a right fit enrollment call link in the chat. If for some reason, based on where you're tuning in, you're not seeing it in the chat, you can find it in both Laura and I's profiles. You can also just send us a note directly if you're curious, if you have like maybe a really specific question or something that you're wanting to know before you book a call. We're here to chat. We're here to answer questions, whether it's through Instagram DMs or through email. These calls are really low, very like there's no pressure. It's a no pressure space, just to help you get more clarity and alignment with where you are right now and how specifically NeuroSomatics can fit into your life and your business where you are right now and what that can unlock for you. So these conversations are really strategic spaces. So because of that, we want to make sure you feel really equipped going into the conversation. So if you click on the calendar link, you'll see a calendar. You get to find a time that fits into your schedule for a 30-minute call, conversation with Laura or I or someone else from our team is usually there as well. And when you book that call, you'll see a program guide. And we just ask that if you're going to take that next step to book the call, that you just check out the program guide and look through it before you get on the call, so that we can really use that time really strategically. And we're not answering like basic program questions like what's in the curriculum or when do we meet, because all of that is inside the program guide. You'll also see a lot of testimonials. We have a couple case studies in there, which are really exciting to read. And then we have the investment details toward the back of that guide. So yeah, again, we just ask that you read that so that you can come prepared for the conversation and we can all be on the same page as it relates to the basics within the program before we really talk about, again, that potential right fit. Laura, anything you want to before we
No, I think that's it for today, lady. I wanted to say, for those of you who are watching, like I said, maybe live or on the replay today, we would love to have you a part of NeuroSomatics. We're only running this cohort once a year. So we're springtime. So if you're really feeling the pull, like I said, would love to have you. We're going to be kicking off, like Kate referenced, April 7th is going to be our start date, which I believe is a Tuesday. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you also next week. We're going to have another shift call with another amazing topic that we'll be diving into. And we hope you all have a great rest of your week.